Disney's live-action Little Mermaid has faced a major amount of backlash over the changes they're making to the source material and the visual direction they've taken the film in. Many people are not excited for the release, and even though the first few teasers and trailers looked pretty awful and people weren't afraid to say it, their latest Oscars trailer for the film that finally shows a glimpse at Ursula, Ariel's creature friends like Sebastian, has released, and it is already being brutally ratioed. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube memberships. Now, this trailer is of course being brutally ratioed already, but it's being ratioed for a couple of different reasons this time, and I wanted to start off with this article actually. The Little Mermaid trailer leaves Oscars viewers outraged over unfair disruption to the ceremony. There are a lot of people who are actually mad that this trailer was revealed during the Oscars because it did take up a portion of it, and before they actually showed it, they had both Melissa McCarthy and Holly Bailey on stage to basically promote this film. So, it says Sunday night's Oscars ceremony wasn't just about the awards and humorous monologues provided by Jimmy Kimmel, as it also provided the platform for the Disney-owned ABC to share a first look for its latest projects. Melissa McCarthy and Holly Bailey entered the action to deter attention away from the award giving to promote the new film The Little Mermaid, but it's safe to say awards fans weren't best pleased. Now, I personally did not watch the Oscars. I just like to watch a summary afterwards, or if a big moment happens, I will watch that, because I don't like having to sit for hours and view events where people are basically just patting themselves on the back. I'm just not a big fan of these type of events, and of course, it's people like me who used to watch it that don't anymore, and that's why their viewership has gone down. We don't have any viewership numbers for this year's Oscars yet, but when we do, I bet they show a drop. But it talks a little bit about the trailer. It says, however, though, with the trailer taking up a fair chunk of proceedings during the event, some fans weren't happy. People went to Twitter to just voice their unhappiness with how the Oscars this year were basically just a giant ad for Disney. They did show several trailers, and this one, of course, was the largest, but people were pretty pissed off about this, and I'm sure that some of the dislikes on the new trailer are because of this situation. People were like, I'm going to go to YouTube after this event, and I'm going to dislike it. But of course, there are people who are just unhappy with the content that we have seen through the past few teasers and trailers, and those individuals are not afraid to voice how unhappy they are with The Little Mermaid so far, because the newest post by Walt Disney Studios is currently sitting at 3.3 million views in about 16 hours, which is pretty good. It's number 2 on trending, so it's got a lot of attention right now. But if we look at the likes to dislikes, they are looking very bad. 77,000 likes, which is, you know, solid, I guess, but 286,000 dislikes right now, which is abysmal for Disney. I have talked about the live-action Little Mermaid a couple of times here on the channel, and I personally have been very underwhelmed with what we have seen so far. I just wasn't a big fan of a lot of the decisions they made. The creatures like Sebastian and Flounder, they just kind of look like they're straight out of horror movies. They don't look that good. It was a problem I also had with The Lion King, though. Those looked way more realistic, in my opinion, even though they were complete CGI. But this, it just seemed like they went off the rails. Another issue that I have had with the previous trailers and images that we have seen is that Under the Sea looks very dull and dark and dreary. And I will give them a little bit of credit, because while we still have that in a lot of scenes like this, it just looks really dark and not very exciting. There are some very colorful moments like this. You know, this actually looks pretty decent. This is what we expect when we are watching live action Little Mermaid. It's still not as bright as something like Avatar Way of Water, which is kind of direct competition for this film because, of course, a lot of underwater technology was used for this as well, and a lot of the CGI should be very similar because it's under the water. But I do still have some issues with this, though. Yes, I think that it looks a little bit better. This trailer was definitely the best. If I was going to get excited for a film, this is the type of trailer that I would want to see. But I do still have other issues with this film, and that revolves around Ursula. I am not a fan of Melissa McCarthy. I just don't think that she is going to do a good job as this character. I am just very turned off with the idea of her being Ursula. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of her as an actress in general, but obviously people are very upset with the way that this movie looks. I am not alone in my criticisms because there are currently 13,000 comments from people who are just memeing on this film and people just saying, you guys need to put more effort into your movies. People are, of course, using the classic meme template. I love the part where Ariel looks at Ursula and says, "You shall not pass," most riveting line in the whole thing. I love the part where Ariel stands outside Prince Eric's house and holds a boombox over her head while a song by Peter Gabriel starts playing. Immediately brought me to tears. And there are 77,000 likes here. I feel like there are a lot of people supporting this film and backing this film just to be against the people who dislike it. But there are some individuals here who are saying, you know, it looks good. I'm excited. And my children are excited, which is great. You know, if you think this movie looks awesome, that's cool. I hope that you see it. I hope that you love it. I hope it's everything you're expecting. But I personally have not a lot of excitement for this film, and I'm someone who actually enjoyed most of the other princess remakes. I like the Cinderella one. I really like Lily James. I really like Richard Madden. I thought that that film was okay. Beauty and the Beast one was a little bit questionable. I'm not a fan of Emma Watson, especially as Belle, but the CGI there and the music was fantastic. Maybe this film, once it actually releases, will have some really great elements, but I'm not seeing them right now. People are also saying things like, I really wish we got an original movie based on African mythology and fairy tales, but this trailer is making me hate this less. Please, can we get a movie based on black fairy tales, not fairy tales from the Dutch? I really want to support Holly, but I don't know what to do. This is a very fair criticism that we have seen many times. People just asking for original films based on things like African mythology, which I definitely think is a fair ask. I don't know why Disney hasn't done that yet, especially where they clearly want to promote things like diversity, make new content, and make it good content. Make it content that people can't criticize because it is so freaking amazing. That is all they have to do, but they can't seem to do that. But as you can see, the Little Mermaid trailer is currently being ratioed into oblivion. Plus, the few people who watch the Oscars every year were very unhappy over the disruption to the ceremony because of this film, so right now it is still facing a massive amount of backlash. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.